Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you trying to design a character? Pro tip, add an eye patch. This objectively makes any character sexy and cool. Like these character designs? Bad. Garbage. Literal doo-doo feces. But this is a character design. That is an awesome looking man. This is peak Fire Emblem. Look at me, for example. My design? Man. My backstory? Dude. But slap an eye patch on me, and suddenly I'm sexy, enigmatic, and a wanted felon. Look at all of these characters that are improved by an eye patch. So try it today, and make your characters objectively cooler. Note that this does not actually make your characters cool, and it's merely my own opinion on the matter. Also, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, else I have sex with your dad. Every now and again, a character in Fire Emblem is just such a powerhouse of a unit, they get a following without ever needing to say a single word. Seth is perhaps the most infamous of this, so much so that my very first episode was about him and trying to bring his character to the public eye. And today we're talking about Haar, a character who's another version of that, as a part of the traditionally very well-balanced Wyvern Rider class. He's a force in Radiant Dawn, one of the most busted units in that game, and maybe even the series in general, but he also has a great character on top of all of that. So today, let's look at the one-eyed Sleepy Bones, and see why he's a lot more than just a bunch of good stats, even if those are really good stats. Haar first appears on Chapter 11 of Path of Radiance, where he stands outside on the corner of the map, completely out of the field of play. He's ordered by the Black Knight to sit back and let him handle things, so he just takes a nap on taxpayers' money, just like a true American patriot. A knight under his care, Jill, wants to go spear furries, but Haar calms her down and makes her withdraw. His opening scene lays out his character well, but given that he's not the focus of the chapter, he doesn't do much of anything. Still, his cool design combined with his demeanor means he does still leave an impression, and for a side character in a Fire Emblem game, that's honestly the highest honor you can hope to achieve. He doesn't show up again for 8 chapters, where he sneaks into Ike's army's base to talk to Jill, who defected to Crimea a little while ago. He'd been looking for her, thinking she was off fighting by herself, but upon realizing that she's matured from how she used to be, he realizes that it's better for her to be where she is. His final words are reminding her to get some rest, which is funny to think about. Imagine breaking into an enemy's base just to tell someone to eat their veggies or something, and then he leaves. This scene shows that Haar is a good man, hinting at the eventual fact that you can recruit him, not that it was hard to tell, and alluding to Jill's father Shaharam, who's the boss of the next map. Speaking of, Haar is there with Shaharam, ready to fight alongside him against the Crimean army, but he's told to stay away and take care of any men who survive the upcoming battle. It's very clear in Shaharam's dialogue that he knows his death is near, and he's asking Haar to pick up his torch when he dies, not if, and Haar agrees. I explained Haar and Shaharam's backstory in my Jill episode, but to sum it up quickly, they worked for an evil senate, went, "This fucking sucks," and fled to Dayan in hopes that life would be better there. Well, life was even worse in Dayan, but since they so boldly abandoned the Senate of Benyan, they were kinda stuck there, participating in Dayan's evil ways so their families would have food on the table. And it ends with most of them dying for a shitty cause that none of them believed in. It's a tragic tale, but Haar takes up his master's dying wish and leads the stragglers to safety after Shaharam is killed by Ike. 1, 2, 3, 5 in all. We're lucky to have that many. Captain Haar, what are we supposed to do now? General Shaharam is dead, and our homes are gone. What are we to do with our families? What do you want to do? We've lost any right we had to stay here, so that leaves Benyan or Crimea. General Shaharam was slain by Crimea. Joining with them now is it's not possible. Then all you can do is return to Benyan. I doubt you'll get a hero's welcome, but I have an old friend in the Pegasus Knights. Shall I contact her? Oh, gods. 18 long years. What does any of it mean now? Don't say that. No matter what, I'm proud to have served under General Shaharam. You're right. It was an honor. Haar disappears again for a while, reappearing on the big bridge and... Sorry, I need to change the background music. I love Final Fantasy V too much to talk about a bridge and not use this music. Anyways, Haar is still fighting for Dayan, seemingly contradicting his remarks to send Shaharam's old unit to Benyan for safety. But as he tells Jill, he's a vindictive man. He seeks revenge for Shaharam, and he couldn't just go back to Benyan and abandon his rage. He intended to serve in the Dayan army to stab General Petrine in the back, but they caught on to him and ordered him to do a suicidal charge. But with Jill's word, Haar decides to help the Crimean army. So with only a few scenes to his name, Haar manages to carve himself as a sympathetic character, and with a motive that anyone can get behind. After all, who doesn't love a good revenge story? Now you've heard about how monstrous of a unit Haar is, but that's more so in Radiant Dawn. Oh, in Path of Radiance he's still amazing, just not quite the holy grail he'll become. In the character side, Haar only has 2 supports, one with Jill, and one with Makalov, of all people. And they're a solid okay out of 10. His Makalov support has Makalov freak out, thinking Haar is a debt collector come to tear him a new asshole, which is kinda funny, I guess. And his support with Jill is just straight up good. It has them humorously bantering, and ends with both of them grieving the death of Shaharam in their own way. The support is mostly noteworthy for Haar saying that they should do a Wyvern cargo service, which is exactly what they do in the next game, so it sets up that pretty nicely. Yeah, Haar's character is basically wrapped up before he even joins, but that is not a bad thing at all, given how good it was before he joined. In Radiant Dawn, Haar enters the story by the old reliable, being in the complete wrong place at the complete wrong time. He's making a delivery when he stumbles upon Alencia and Marcia, who are fighting some Benyan knights who are trying to kidnap 2 Legu, Liane and Aluchi. Marcia manages to hardcore guilt trip him into helping, and from there, Haar manages to accidentally be involved in a major war in Crimea, but he figures he might as well help since he's already there. Given that Alencia's part is fucking 5 chapters long, he doesn't have much time to do anything. But he does have one nice scene with Alencia giving her a pep talk. She feels unworthy of her retainers, but Haar says loyalty is something earned, recalling his pride in serving Shaharam, and says that Alencia's knights wouldn't be there if Alencia didn't have traits worth being loyal to. It's a nice scene that uses his backstory in a relevant way to Alencia's story, but none of that shit is why he's remembered in Radiant Dawn. He's remembered for his monstrous power as a unit. Just like I'm going to be remembered for my incredible greed, because it's time to shill my Patreon until you guys give me money. That's right, I have a Patreon, where for as little as $3 a month, you can get access to benefits, like having your name read aloud on videos, or getting access to polls to decide future episodes. Right now, it's a 3 houses battle, between Dorothea, Ferdinand, and Sedef, and Ferdinand is very surprisingly winning. Pleasantly surprised, but you can kick his ass and make someone else win. My patrons include the likes of Adebayo Thompson, Andrew Crockett, Benz Again, Clockwork 9000, Dr. McBackstab, Elizabeth, Fire Emblem Lord, Hell on Heelys, Justbesito 2, Lysevening Bolt, Nevrix the Tourmaline Project creator, Shen Lu, Steph D, Tato, the world's most unironic 8.5 tail stan, Walmart greeter, Your Girl Olwyn, Brentendo 11, Drew Hack, Ginger, Goo Goo Gaga Cornelia Milkers 92, Max the Knife, and Upscale Furry Trash. Thank you all for your continued support, and let's talk about why Haar fucking breaks the game. Haar is a Wyvern Lord, so out of the gate, he's in one of Fire Emblem's historically most broken classes, combining flyer utility with really good stats. Haar continues this trend, except he's doing it in a game very kind to flyers, as Radiant Dawn's map design and ledge mechanic is easily circumvented by Haar because he flies. He also uses axes, a weapon that's really good because a lot of Tellius enemies love lances, so he's frequently at the weapon triangle advantage. He's also actually around. Characters in Radiant Dawn tend to go in and out of usability constantly, but Haar can be deployed in most of the maps that happen from the point that he joins. Great stats, great class, actually usable. He's just really fucking good from join time to credits. There are maps he can clear pretty much single-handedly. He is just built different. But wait, I hear you ask. Haar's speed growth isn't that good, so shouldn't he eventually struggle to outspeed enemies?
Yeah, but no.
Well, that problem is mitigated due to bonus XP. In Radiant Dawn, completing a map quickly or by doing side objectives will award you with bonus experience you can give to any unit you want. In Path of Radiance, this was busted, since giving free level ups to your strong units meant you could let them get incredibly over-leveled and overpowered, and then they could steamroll, which means you clear maps more efficiently, which means you get awarded more bonus XP, which means you give it to your strong units, which means that you can overlevel them and you can see how this becomes an issue. Radiant Dawn decided to balance this by allowing bonus XP to only increase 3 stats, which is an okay level up, but most units on average would get a little bit more than that. This is a great idea on paper, but it completely crumbles when you take into account Radiant Dawn's other mechanic, 3-tier classes. Rather than one promotion, there are 2 for units, leading to classes the series hasn't seen again since, like Trueblade or Marshall. Because of this, Tier 2 units like Haar tended to have lower stat caps to accommodate the fact that they promote again. Haar, for example, will usually cap his skill and defense after like 3 levels. This is where bonus XP comes in. It gives 3 stats on every level. That's not 3 stats minimum, or that's 3 stats every level. And if Haar has already capped his defense and skill, then those 3 stats have to be something else, making the odds of him to level his quote weakness of speed actually really likely, even more so if he happens to cap strength or something else. This is a useful exploit for a lot of units, not just Haar, but Haar is arguably the best user of it, due to his combination of availability, base stats, growths, and class caps. You can make him have near perfect stats with very little effort. But wait, I hear you ask, what about his class's innate weakness to thunder magic? Won't thunder mages kill him very easily?
Yeah, but no.
Well, thunder mages will, at any point in the game, turbo-nuclear ass-blast Haar to fucking Narnia, but there's one workaround skillful players will be able to pull off. Just don't put him near them. This isn't like flyers and bows, where the weapon is common enough to be a constant threat. Thunder mages are scarce, and when they're around, you can easily just send Haar to another part of the map. Like I said, they can easily kill him, but it's mostly such a non-issue that it really just makes you use slightly more thought than no thought at all when using Haar. He doesn't really have a weakness. He joins the likes of Seth and Rutger, where a lot of his popularity comes from how absurdly powerful he is as a unit. The fact that he's a cool character is honestly just a bonus. And what does Haar do in Radiant Dawn after Alencia's part is over? In terms of story, not jack shit. He has one base conversation with Ike that's kinda nice. Ike asks him why isn't he fighting with Jill, but Haar expresses faith that Jill can handle herself and doesn't need him to save her. And given how she's like one of 2 units in part 1 that's worth using, yeah, that clears. And since Radiant Dawn removed support conversations, Haar's characterization would normally end there. He's not as screwed over as like Gareth or Vika, but he doesn't have much going on in Radiant Dawn. I said normally, because he has some of the rawest boss quotes in the franchise for no goddamn reason. Seriously, Haar is not a plot-relevant character, but his lines go hard. Why is it that authority figures are always so unwilling to let go of their power? The world could flip upside down and you'd be trying to boss around gravity. You clearly know nothing of me, lout. To oppose me is to oppose the goddess Ashira herself. That's strange. I always thought that role was filled by the Apostle. But who can keep up these days? So you're defending the goddess, but will she do the same for you? Wait, I remember you. You were one of the Draco Knights that fled to Dayan, defying the Senators. You opposed the almighty Benyon and the word of the goddess. Why? Why would you defy such power? You could live another lifetime, and you'd still never understand. Captain Haar, you're still alive! What happened that you didn't expect me to survive? Nothing, I suppose. It's just that it's been a while since you left Benyon. Yeah, 20 years ago, was it? I was still very young at the time. You had just been dubbed a knight. Oh, it brings back such memories. The bravery of the Draco Knights, especially the Fizzark platoon. It was legendary among the soldiers. But then you suddenly defected to Dayan. I got sick of taking orders from corrupt senators, so I ditched the country with General Shaharam. I joined the army after I came of age, but it was different after you all left. It was as if you took its spirit with you. The only exception was General Zelgius, the general of Duke Purse's army. I see. Is that why you're under his command? Yes. He is the last true knight. I will die for him. Yes, LaVale, you will. The writers can do stuff like that, but can't make any support conversations? God, Radiant Dawn is like so close to being a great game, but I swear it just chooses not to be. Anyways, Haar is a lot like Seth. He has a lot of fans due to his godly unit quality, but if you asked about his character, you might not hear very much in response. And just like Seth, Haar has a fantastic character to back up his fantastic unit quality. He really is the FE character that comes in a complete package. Plus, he rides on a dragon, which makes him objectively cooler than anyone who doesn't ride a dragon. It's honestly the only argument I needed. Thank you all very much for making it to the end of another character analysis video. I really appreciate that you watch it all the way through, and we're almost at 70 episodes! That is absolutely crazy to me. As always, I would like to thank my friend Guy, the Green Brigand, for reading over the script and making sure I don't say anything too goddamn stupid. Hasn't happened yet, but one day it will. If you enjoyed the video, please consider looking through the Discord. I have a lot of fun with it, the people there seem to really enjoy it, and every episode I ask them, hey, do you want to advertise the Discord? So you're seeing that now. I don't know why it took me so long to think to do this. This is really way more efficient than the still images I was using before, but hey, we all gotta take our time to get there somehow. And please, if you would, consider watching my Look Back series. It's a series of retrospectives I'm making, it's a personal passion project, and if you stop to give it a look, I would greatly appreciate it. Here's a clip from an episode now. Some of Amy's lyrics were spicy. Why would liking a boy make a girl want to shave her cat? Why would liking a boy make a girl want to shave her cat?